It's 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July 18th, 2023, and I hereby call this regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council to order. Could you please bow your heads for the invocation by Councilman Finley?
Dear Lord, grant us wisdom to make sound decisions and the patience to work together for our great community. Give us health, be with the sick and the needy, and keep us safe. Thank you for all the things you do for us every day. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor DeBrio,
Here.
Councilmember Finley,
Here.
Councilmember Lisi,
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
Could I get a motion to confirm or adjust agenda?
I would like to adjust the agenda. I would like to table my RSA action agenda number 17.
Okay. Any other adjustments? Could I get a motion to move as amended, and that is to table 2023-274?
So move.
And the motion is to contribute up to $40,000 for the dog park from the general fund balance. Motion?
Shane made it, right?
Shane made the motion, so can we get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held on August 1st, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers located at City Hall. And now we have a presentation by Ms. Star Chapman with Attorney General Lynn Fitch's office. And this presentation is on scam, and it is fabulous. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. I have a big voice. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Thank you. I hate using a microphone. So impersonal.
Can the video hear
On
though?
behalf of the Attorney General,
Can
Lynn
the
Fitch,
video?
myself, I want to thank you for inviting us tonight. We're going to talk about scamming. It is a multi-billion with a B industry. It is prolific.
Can the viewers at home hear her, you think, without the mic?
You want me to go to the mic? I will. Well,
What's happening? Nothing's on the screen. Oh, there we go.
It's your laptop. Going on.
it's my mic.
I'll touch it. I'll touch it.
I don't know what to do. That's what
I mean, I just have to hear it. It's coming back on.
Yeah.
Oh, is it not?
There it is.
Yeah, I clicked it, it won't go. Oh, it won't. Just hit the space bar. So Liz Fitch is your top cop and your top prosecutor. She is your chief legal officer and advisor for the whole state on civil and criminal matters. She's responsible in representing public officials, governmental agencies, and to issue legal opinions that interpret state law. Most importantly, she represents us, the people of Mississippi. She has a Bachelor of Business Administration and a Juris Doctorate at the University of Mississippi. She has over 30 years of both private and governmental law experience. Space.
Oh, no.
That's better.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about preventing fraud. We have fraud reports, magnitude of the problem, methods used to deceive and defraud seniors, steps to take if you have been scammed, identity theft, how to protect your personal information, and then we're going to take some questions. So in 2022, the fraud report is this. 5.1 million reports were received. It was a decrease from 21. Identity theft reports represented 22% at 1.1 million. Fraud reports filed represented 46% at 2.4 million. 14.10% account for imposter fraud scams. Total losses reported. $2.7 billion in 2022 alone. The increased loss from 2020 to 21 was $2.4 billion. So the fraud and identity ID theft report from Mississippi for 2022. We had 10 categories reporting: identity theft, credit bureau, info furnishers and report users, imposter scams, banks and lenders, online shopping and negative reviews, auto-related, debt collection, prizes, sweepstakes, and lotteries, and no, you did not win. Telephone and mobile services and credit cards. We have 7,963 is the number of fraud reports for a total of $17.6 million in losses, and the median loss per person is $500 apiece. So the magnitude of the problem. In the U.S., 1 in 10 seniors falls victim to some type of fraud. 92,371 victims over the age of 60, 1.7 million losses, 74% increase in losses from 2020. Total losses of all complaints in 21 was 24%. 3,133 victims lost more than $100,000, and the average loss per victim was $18,246. So what is a scam? It's an illegal trick, usually with the purpose of getting money from people. A scam is a type of fraud. And the two age groups, believe it or not, are 20 to 29 and 70 to 79. I would never thought about the 20-somethings, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we are the two targeted age groups. And the younger people are reporting it more than older people. Okay, so your 20 to 29-year-olds are actually making a phone call and reporting scams. So why do scammers target seniors? Availability, loneliness, prosperity, isolation, and illness, sickness. Methods used to deceive and defraud seniors for financial gain. Each year, millions of seniors fall victim to some type of financial fraud. If you believe you are someone you know may have been a victim of elderly fraud, you can file a complaint with the Office of the Attorney General and with the FBI. And I have information on that. I'll give it to you later if you would like it. So what are the type of scams and frauds? We have the romance scam, the grandparent scam, tech support scam, government impersonation scam, sweepstakes, charity and lottery scam, identity theft, and home repair. And remember when the storms came through, Zeta, Laura, Sally, all of them? We had trucks all over Diamond Head that were not from our area, and there were a lot of scams going on. Go ahead. So the romance scam. Scammers pose as interested romantic partners through dating websites to capitalize on their senior victims' desire to find companions. They create fake online identities in order to gain the trust and affection of the senior. So how to avoid a romance scam? Be careful what you post and make public online. Scammers can use details shared on social media and dating sites to better understand and target you. Research the person's photo and their profile using online searches to see if the image, the name, or the details have been used elsewhere. Beware of the individual who seems too perfect or quickly ask you to leave a dating service or social media site to communicate directly. Beware if the individual attempts to isolate you from friends and family or request inappropriate photos or financial information that could later be used to you. Before you go on, let me make a little side point here. We are seeing an increasing increasing rate in teenage suicide. And this last item is the reason why. Our kids are going onto these dating sites, these social media sites, they're looking for a friend, they're looking for someone to date, and they are requested inappropriate photos. And once they do that, the scammer tells them, if you don't give me $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 in 24 hours, I'm going to publish your photos. And unfortunately, a lot of kids are taking their lives over this. It really is a terrible situation. So some of these tips are good for our kids too. Thank you. So the romance scam. Criminals carry out romance scams, are experts at what they do and will seem genuine, caring, and believable. Con artists are present on most dating and social media sites. So what is a romance scam? Beware if the individual attempts to isolate you once again from your family and your friends, or request inappropriate photos or financial information that can be later used to extort you. Beware if the individual promises to meet in person, but then always comes up with excuses why he or she cannot. If you haven't met with the person after a few months, for whatever reason, you have good reason to be suspicious and very cautious. Never send money to anyone you have only communicated with online or via the telephone. Can you hit the screen of the lady? There should be a video right there we can tap into. There she is. $100,000. It broke him financially, it broke him spiritually, and then it broke him physically, and it killed him. It's a sad situation. So the grandparent scam, believe it or not, this is happening to some of us here in Diamond Head. The grandparent scam. Scammers will pose as a grandchild, claiming to be in immediate dire financial need or in a situation where they've been in an accident, arrested, or robbery. They call us and text message urging for money to be sent via wire immediately. The imposter offers just enough details to another scammer who pretends to be the doctor or the police officer or the attorney. To make the impersonation more convincing, he or she will throw in a few family particulars, details, you know, we put it all on Facebook, right? Gleaned from the actual grandchild's social media activity. Tech scam support. Scammers will pose as technology support representatives and offer to fix non-existent computer issues, gaining remote access to your devices and your sensitive information. They will claim to be a Microsoft or Apple or McAfee worker. You could receive a call or a pop-up message. You know, sometimes when you're on your computer and the box comes up and it says, ooh, virus alert, you need to renew your McAfee or your Norton. Don't do it. If you're in doubt, exit out, go into the website and log into your account. And all your information will be right there. Claims of a virus or other malware showing on your computer. Hang up the phone, ignore phone numbers and links on pop-up messages. Do not click on the links. And they'll keep sending it to where it almost puts you in a panic mode or a frantic mode. You feel like, oh my gosh, I really have to do something right now. And that's the whole purpose, is to push you into action. Don't do it. So do not wire money, deposit in cryptocurrency, ATM, purchase gift or prepaid cards, or send money in any other way. Government impersonator scams. Starts with a call, a text, an email, or a message on your social media platforms. They pose as government employees and use threats of arrest to money. I'm getting a pop-up from Netflix on my Attorney General laptop saying my Netflix account is overdue and I need to pay my bill. Okay, that's my work laptop. I do nothing personal on my work laptop, so it's everywhere. It's just everywhere. So scammers will pose as Social Security Administration, the IRS, or Medicare. Real news headlines or federal agency information are used with a twist to convince seniors that the scammer is correct. Scammers will use your emotions, worry, fear, and love to pressure you into sending money or in sharing your personal information. Medicare and Medicaid. I want to share this real quick. I did this presentation 4 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago a lady called me. Check your Medicaid, Medicare bills. Check your insurance forms, your benefits every month. You'll be surprised how many of us are being charged for devices and services we don't have or use or need. And she called me and she had a $2,500 charge on her Medicare, and the device is out of Texas and the doctor is in St. Augustine, Florida, for a device for diabetes, and she's not a diabetic. So this is really bad. And this is another way, because a lot of times as seniors, I know, we don't go in and check our benefits. We go, well, I've got insurance and I've got Medicare and I'm covered. You need to check it, because this affects us all, this scamming. So scammers take advantage of this fact by fishing for social security numbers or other medical information. Hang up and call 1-800-MEDICARE. Medicare will never call you uninvited and ask you to give up personal or private information. Sweepstakes and lottery scams. You are not a winner. You receive a call, letter, email, or text saying you are a winner. Maybe it's a vacation or a cruise, a lottery, or a sweepstakes. Then you're told in order to claim the winnings, you need to pay fees, taxes, or custom dues. You will be given various payment methods, payment with credit card number or bank account information, pay with cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. Remember, if you pay or share your information, the scammer will keep coming back requesting more and more money. Keep your money and keep your information private. Do not share it with anyone. Never send anyone cash or pay with gift cards, wire QR codes. Now, this one is pretty interesting because we all like to walk by a store that has a chalkboard out front, and they've got a QR code, and you just pull out your phone and you're gonna take a picture. Don't do it. Do not do it. They are easily manipulated. Scammers have learned how to manipulate QR codes, and the minute you take a picture of it, they're in your phone with all your information. So do not download an app from a QR code. Instead, use your phone's app store. Do not download a QR code scanner app. Your phone already has one in it. You don't have to do that. Avoid using a QR code to pay your bills. Report emails received about any recent purchases made regarding a failed payment that instructs you to complete your payment through a QR code. Contact the company by phone from a trusted site, not the phone number given in the email. Another way to take your personal information. If you believe your funds have been stolen from an altered QR code, contact the Mississippi FBI field office. Home repair and contractor scams. Home repair scammers want your money urgently, right now. So someone knocks on your door, calls you, they say they can fix your leaky roof, install new windows, and provide the latest energy-efficient solar panels. They might find you after a flood, windstorm, or other natural disasters, right? We've had that. They pressure you to act quickly, might ask you to pay in cash, or offer to get you finance. Don't do it, okay? Home repair scammers might direct you to pay by sending money through MoneyGram or Western Union. Paying contractors using these payment methods is like sending cash. It will be almost impossible to reverse or trace. Steps to take if you feel you've been scammed. Gift card scams. Contact the company that issued the card right away, letting them know it was a scam, and request a refund. Always, always request a refund. You know, if you don't ask, you won't receive. It's true. Keep the card and any receipts for your proof of purchase. Credit or bank debit cards. Contact the credit card company or bank to report fraudulent charges. Ask for the transaction to be reversed and for a refund. Money apps or bank wire transfer. Reports as fraudulent with money transfer company, Cash App, or PayPal or bank. Request that the transaction be reversed and a refund be given. You can also do a credit freeze. Contact all 3 credit bureaus and freeze your credit cards. Identity theft. This happens when a person illegally uses your personal information to commit fraud. Someone illegally uses your social security number and assuming your identity can cause you a lot of problems. So to prevent it, do not routinely carry your social security card around. I never knew this until I started doing this presentation. It's at home. I think I've got it memorized, huh? You too, right? Never say your social security number aloud in public. Beware of phishing scams, emails, internet links, and phone calls trying to trick you into revealing your personal information. Create a personal My Social Security account to help you keep track of your records and identify any suspicious activity. To prevent identity theft, consider adding these blocks to your account at My Social Security. The e-Services block. This prevents anyone, including you, from seeing or changing your personal information on the internet. Once we add the block, you or your representative will need to contact your local office to request removal of the block. And then there's the direct deposit fraud prevention block. This prevents anyone, including you, from enrolling in direct deposit or changing your address or direct deposit information through My Social Security or a financial institution via auto enrollment. Once we add the block, you or your representative will need to contact your local office to request removal of the block. You will need to do the same to make any future changes to direct deposit or your contact information. medical identity theft, warning signs. You get a bill from your doctor for services you didn't get. You notice errors in your explanation of benefits statement, like services you didn't get, or prescription medications you don't take. That's why it's really important to go through that summary, that list. You get a call from a debt collector about a medical debt you don't owe. You review your credit report and see medical debt collection notices that you don't recognize. You get a notice from your health insurance company saying you reached your benefit limit. And that's another reason why you need to check that statement. You don't want to be denied your benefits because you've been charged erroneously for services and devices you never used and never needed. You were denied insurance coverage because your medical records show a pre-existing condition you don't even have. So, for reporting, the Office of the Attorney General, www.ago.state.nis.gov, FBI, Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov/ID theft. Also, socialsecurity.gov/my account, if you want to go in and do any of those blocks on your Social Security account. How do you protect your personal information? Don't carry your Social Security card in your wallet. Keep it safely secured at home. Never give personal information over the phone or in an email to someone who just asks for it. Shred any piece of paper containing personal information with your name, birth date, and Social Security number. You can also block it out with an ink stamp. Regularly check your financial accounts for suspicious transactions and request a free credit report from each of the 3 credit bureaus every year. So to contact us, we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and the website is ago.state.nis/US. Any questions?
Excellent.
I know it's a lot, isn't it? And it's like, oh my goodness, you thought it was bad, and you go, So the main thing I want to share with you is, and I think as adults we all really know this, it's up to us to keep us safe. It's up to us to keep us protected. Use your common sense. If something sounds too good to be true, what's that old saying? Yeah, that's it. And do not ever give any information to somebody you don't know. Sometimes not even them. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much. That was a ton of information, but I will say it came in very helpful at the Senior Village, and we learned a few things, and I'll have to tell you a story about something that happened.
you.
Very relevant to this video.
Well, you know what's really funny is usually when I give it, the younger people in the meeting will go, and by the end they're going, oh.
Yes.
Especially the QR codes, because everybody's pictures. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Star, I want to thank you very much for bringing this tonight. I wish this room was packed out with people watching this. That was an excellent presentation. I see a lot of the scams of the gift cards. People coming in and getting scammed by gift cards, and I try to tell them they're being scammed, but they are solidly sold on this is real. This is my granddaughter. Somebody is getting scammed, and they can't be told differently. So, and a lot of times it is the older people, come in. But anyway, I hope everybody watches this presentation. That was just excellent. Thank you.
Definitely. Or if you're reading your emails and you get in a rush and you just reply, or you hit read and you know you shouldn't have.
And the one thing is that it's like you'll click the X and it'll come back up, and you click the X and it'll come back up, and what they try to do is pressure you to where you go, oh, just let me look at it and be done with it. That's exactly what they want.
Because they hide the other little X in a corner you don't see. All right. Well, thank you so very much.
Well,
City Manager's report?
Thank you, Mayor. Starting off with the Park 10 Road, the bids were opened last week. They're still under review with the engineer, and hope to have that at the next council meeting for approval. Phase 4 paving, project's still demobilized. What's holding them up is the project over on Bayou Drive for the culvert replacement. They are finishing that up, and so we will have probably a meeting. The engineers asked to have a meeting with the contractor so that before we get restarted. So I asked him today. The contractor, or the other contractor, is finishing up this week, and so I asked the engineer today if he would set up a meeting so we can get started. Hopefully they can get back on that project Monday. Diamond Head Drive paving, bids were due today. We opened them, and hopefully he'll have a recommendation to us on the August 1st meeting. He felt very comfortable and confident with that. The Noma Drive Boat Launch Phase 1 has been awarded. We're getting the construction documents taken care of and getting a notice to proceed issued next week. There will be a groundbreaking for this project on July 25th at 9 o'clock. It'll be down just past or right around the football field down on Noma Drive. So we have a little bit of work to do to kind of make that road a little bit smoother for everybody to get down there. McKeekee Drive, the city engineer has developed the specifications for that project, and we had a very good meeting yesterday, phone call meeting with the bond attorneys, and we are working on getting that hopefully approved maybe at the next agenda. If not, we may have to go out for bids ourselves. We have a couple options that the bond company is providing to us. So, maybe we can get that project started here very soon to get that finished. Stormwater. Oh, you want to? No, okay. I'm sorry. I know Melissa was in there with me yesterday. The stormwater projects on tonight's agenda, you have several work assignments to the engineers to get started on those projects with the state ARPA matching funds. We have 2 more ARPA grants that we're waiting on the state to approve. We've sent them some updated information that they requested. Hopefully, as soon as we get those back, we can get those grant agreements signed and back to them, and then get the work assignments assigned on those as well. On Hilo Street, which should be Hilo Way, the engineers provided 3 suggestions to help with the issue of the home that's still receiving stormwater. City is implementing those suggestions, and one of those actually they started on today to try to put a bit more of a berm in the median to help divert the water down the road a little bit before it crosses over. And then the other 2 will get a contractor out to work on. Montjoy Creek, the engineer's finalizing the pier location and easement. They're looking at the easement location next. They were looking at it last week on Banyan Place and how it's going to cross over in front of the pump station and across the creek and then through the woods. They're trying to adjust that, and once they get that finalized, we'll request an easement from the property owner. And if that goes well, we'll be able to start submit all that to get our permits for and get started on that project. On the Noma Drive waterfront, which is part of this boat launch earlier, the engineer received some minor comments back from the Army Corps of Engineers about the wetlands portions where the parking lot is going to go, and so we're addressing those and get it back to them hopefully next week.
Okay, any questions to my left?
I got a couple of comments. First off, last week I'd gone to the Ramada, and I don't know if anybody else has made it down there or not, but that place is really, really nice. They've done a great job down there, so I hope they make it over there. They told them they have a reputation that they need to overcome, and so hopefully, they've done their part, and hopefully the people will see it and start recommending people there to stay there. I would recommend having my family there if they came in town. So, but another thing is the Yellow House. Can you give us an update on that Yellow House? You know where it's at.
I do. I do. Actually, Derek and their the owner have been going back and forth, trading emails and phone call conversations back and forth on that. And actually, I was with Derek this morning when he actually emailed him or called him again, and unfortunately, I had to leave him a voice message. So, just trying to get that whole thing solved and finalized to move forward on that. So.
He's been pretty good about returning calls, so I'll keep on him. But looking for an answer. He had a solution that he was exploring, and I just need to know what his timeline is on it. So,
Are you finished? Is that all from my left?
I have a question. Last council meeting, we asked if you and the engineer would get together on Norma Drive, and I don't see it on the agenda. Is that not to be tonight discussed, or
I do have those.
does it not come during your comments, or?
I wasn't exactly sure where we wanted to bring that up, but I do have those for you guys that we can bring up whenever you want. If you want to talk about it now, we can, or.
I think we should talk about it now. Let's bring it up. So do we want to start with Machado Patano on the cost estimate revisions or the Noma Drive? We could start, well, who did the Noma Drive? Who looked at that? What engineer?
Covington Engineering
Okay.
worked on that one. So
Ben, you want to
Ben-
come up and let's hear about what you found at Noma?
Take one past one? Or wait, one. Take one past one. Take one past one.
I probably did. But I had it all. I guess to walk around. Yeah, we'll have it. Thank you.
Do we have extra copies? Because the steering committee's here.
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So is this taken in the Hoe project? That's my, the Hoe 8.5 acres?
I'm not sure about your whole 8.5 acres. So what we did is we looked at the dog park portion of what y'all have been looking at and tried to see if we could fit it on the Noma Drive site conceptually. So this is what we came up with. You can see Noma Drive running from right to left on your paper. The parking lot, the dark shaded is the existing asphalt parking lot. And then we've got the dog park in between Noma Drive and the asphalt parking lot. So right now, what's currently there is gravel overflow parking for football games, I'm guessing, or whatever other uses. But it's the asphalt parking we left alone, and we tried to incorporate the same amount of square feet. And obviously, this is conceptual, so it can be shifted one way or another. We looked at parking that we may have taken by putting the dog park there, and so we put parking on both sides of the entrance and exit to Noma, and we were able to pick up about, I want to say 57 spots. And if you looked at just an aerial image and pulled spots out, I think we impacted somewhere 85 to 90, 92. So we're somewhere in where 30 to 35 foot lot decrease from what's out there now. What else? And then you'll have a cost estimate that you can look at. Again, we used Machado Patana's plans just to get an area, an idea of what they put in for square footage for the small park versus the large park, or small dogs versus large dogs. And then we applied that to a cost estimate. And so you'd be looking at apples to apples. We used their unit cost out of their cost estimate to develop this. So all in, without the sidewalk, is about $105,000. With the sidewalks, about $122,000. And a couple caveats there. That has Public Works removing the gravel within the dog park area and putting that where our gravel parking's going. That also has them, the city providing topsoil just like you would in the other bid, and then Public Works completing any demolition, right? If they're parking bumpers or anything else out there, they'd go remove that.
So this is removing the football fields.
No, ma'am.
This is on the side.
No, this is in between the road. I apologize. I probably should have put it on aerial imagery. So if you look at the top of the page, the chain link fence, that is the fence to get onto the football field.
So the dog park will be on Noma Drive and then a parking lot. So this is probably less than a half acre?
The actual dog park size itself
Mm-hmm.
was, I thought it was the same, but I did the math wrong. So we have 12,500 square feet for the large dog area. I think Machado's plan had 13,000 square feet, so we're 500 square feet short there. And the little dog area is 5,800 square feet. So they match. And we could get in that extra 500 square feet, as you can see. But no, our goal was to match dog park to dog park. We didn't look at any other major components of that project.
So it's a little smaller, and there's no room to expand.
He just said he can expand, right?
Yeah, we can, and that was my error that I didn't realize until today. But we, you know, looking on the west side of the parking lot, we could easily get in another 500 square feet.
And there's enough parking for the football fields?
Well, that's what I was going into. You know, assuming you could fit, we made some broad assumptions, right? Because it's not paved and it's not striped, so you get as many spaces as people can cordially park, right? If somebody parks a boat trailer in there, you're going to take up 10, or if somebody doesn't park correctly, so we're going to lose approximately 30 to 33 spaces.
Okay. They have a lot of cars that go out that way for the football fields. Could soccer fields fit on this? Because I did get a message from them saying they wanted to expand and put soccer fields and add on to the 8.5 acres, because they're using the large majority of it for the football fields.
I can't answer. And you're saying soccer fields in addition to the football fields?
They want to make a youth area out there. They've started a nonprofit, the Youth, Diamond Head Youth.
Right.
A new nonprofit. They've got a new leader, and they're
That's
working hard on it. Is awesome. We need youth programs, and we don't want to take away from the youth. Was there a question from the city clerk? Did you have a question? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I have a question. This is on what's already there, gravelled or kind of like ready to be used, but isn't there a grassy area like adjacent to the football fields?
There is.
And has that been considered at all, or?
Yeah, we looked at that. I mean, obviously that may play into some wetlands. You've got a cleared area that could house the large dog park, and then you've got another cleared area on the north side of the soccer fields. Maybe I can bring back a bigger exhibit, but on the north side of the football fields, you have a small cleared area that could be the small dogs. On the east side of the football field, you have a larger area that could be the large dogs.
And, would there be room for a tot playground to be with the dog park? Kind of like, if people are bringing their dogs and sitting down and they have little toddlers or something, would there be an area for like swings and slides and all like that in that grassy area?
I did not look at that, but I imagine there's enough space. I don't think there's enough space for a soccer field, Mayor. I think there's enough space for that, but you may have some wetland impacts.
Okay, by wetland impacts, are you, what exactly you're saying, that it wouldn't be buildable or doable?
Well, no, it could be doable, but if you impact over 1/10 of an acre on a development, you have to mitigate for those wetlands.
You heard about the May ruling by the Supreme Court where the Army Corps of Engineers no longer has any jurisdiction over wetlands that are not directly connected to tidal water.
I'm very familiar with it, yes, sir.
So I'm wondering if there's even anything that would prevent you from just doing it without a mitigation.
Yeah, my recommendation. I've spoken to the Army Corps of Engineers. Be
careful, Ben.
I'm just going to say that the Army Corps of Engineers, to my knowledge, has not set their new rules in place.
I heard in September.
And so until we get those new rules, we don't know how they're going to interpret that.
So basically, touching the grass areas, we're going to have to work with the Corps on a permit, and we know that's 1 year out.
I don't know about, I'm sorry, to answer your question, I don't know about the grassed areas. I think the grassed areas may be okay. I haven't done a wetland delineation on it. The treed area, pine tree areas are probably wetlands.
Well, isn't that why you went with this area because it looked like it was not wetlands?
Well, this is the easier of the two. Now, if we did go off onto the east and north side, we could do that too, and you could build a walking path. You know, we'd want it to be ADA accessible, right? So we'd have a handicap path or a handicap parking spot on that northeast corner, and then have to have a handicap access path.
So that you put it here in the gravel area, because we knew that was not wetlands.
Correct, and it can be implemented quicker.
So this is a legal question. We don't own the property, so when you lease the property and your lease is up in 10 years, what happens when you put fixtures onto the leased property?
There is a renewal portion of the lease, but the point is, once the lease is up, that's it. You're done. But there is a renewal provision in the lease. And the understanding and the point of it was so that the city would have a perpetual ballpark or whatever it is the city's use was there.
Didn't they specifically mention dog park in the lease?
Yes, as a possible use of the property, yes.
Okay.
Sure they did. So would the fence, would that belong to the POA then, the stuff that's left there after the 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a fixture on the property, yes. Mhm.
Any fixtures would belong to the POA in 10 years?
Anything that's attached to the property.
And that's how a lease works. Okay. I was just asking that question because that was a concern. You know, we've raised money, worked hard, and we want to know in 10 years it's not given back. And then we have to focus on the remote location. I think many are concerned.
Well, that's the area we're building up with the boat ramp and with the new town center. And we're also having football games there and redoing the whole road. So I don't see it as being a future remote location at all. I see it as being the engine that's driving Diamond Head into being bigger and bigger. And what's better than having a dog park, a kids park on the way? It's going to increase business wanting to get involved in there, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
I talked to the police chief about it today, and he told me he was not concerned about safety. He said that we're putting bathrooms in soon. Patrols are going to increase. He suggested, like put a couple cameras up, which we probably should do anyway. They're solar powered. But I think we need to talk about the reason we're looking at this is because the other site has some really glaring issues that I don't know that we can overlook. So let's finish talking about this and then we'll get into that. But
Did you have any more questions?
I do.
Okay, Councilman Cumberland?
Go ahead.
You mentioned you put it here because it was quick. Is that how you
Well,
worded that, or can you
not
do this
quick. I
faster
mean,
than-
it's closer to the road. You're not back in the corner without anything else going on.
You don't have to clear, right?
Well, we don't have a wetland issue at this location. That was me.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Yeah. So we did. I mean, originally I was looking to the northeast and to the north. But until we know what happens in Sackett, we're going to be in a nationwide at best or individual permit at worst to disturb anything of substance in that area. So but that is an option.
What do you think? How long do you think it would take if you did this, start to finish?
What we're showing here?
Mm-hmm. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Gerard may be able to answer that better than I can.
Jerry.
But I it's got a public works component. They're going to have to go in and site prep it. Any specialty items that I'm not aware of on ordering, this could be a 60, 90-day job. I don't see it lasting longer than that unless there's some special items that I'm not aware of that need to be ordered.
And we have to get a new set of construction plans. And who is going to pay for that? Is that coming back out of the money we raised again?
We'd have to look at the budget as a whole and see where that would have to come out, yes.
Ben, does this give them every extra that they had on the other plan?
Based on the latest plans that I've seen, yes, it doesn't include the covered entryway.
That was
But
taken off the other plan.
It
right.
includes, it
That's
includes
not
the
good.
amenities within the park.
But not the entryway that we did as a bid alternate.
So this is
No.
just a dog park, though. This isn't the fishing pier and the walking trail.
That-
like we
that's
had at the
correct.
other location. Okay.
That's correct.
So we need about 100,000.
Di-
With
Didn't
all
I,
the
s-
With all the bells and whistles.
didn't I see an estimate from the dog park of only being 75,000 or 76,000?
Well, let's move on to the dog park. Now, we saw this plan, so you all, it's going to be in the,
I wasn't finished asking.
Well,
I'm sorry. We didn't make it down here. I'm sorry.
Oh, any questions to my right?
Yes, thank you. So Ben, if, I'd be curious to know just for, like how much, if we did this in phases, you know, is it reasonable to, so they can have a dog park quickly? Because obviously this is dragged on and on and on, and we want to get them a dog park as quickly as we can. So, like, just to fence it in, you know, do the site prep so that people can start taking their dogs to run. Like, how quickly could that happen? And like, could the splash pads and all those things be added later, if we needed to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you could throw up fencing and gates pretty quickly.
Okay.
And even, you know, depending on the hitching post and the splash pads and the water fountains, as long as those don't have a long lead time, those could go up pretty quickly as well.
And I know there was some mention of getting sponsors for the fence, which is a great idea, but I can't see that happening at Twin Lakes. But I think it would be fine over here since it's in an athletic kind of rec area. So that's something to consider also. But I'd be really curious to know, like, how much, you know, the minimum would cost to get it up and running, and how quickly that could happen. So maybe you could let us know next time.
Yeah, I could do some quick math, but
Okay.
yeah, and it's all what you want to see. I mean, obviously, we wanted to replace as much parking as we could, and that's why we have the gravel here. If we're going to
Right.
remove the gravel anyway, let's let Public Works push the gravel out to give us more parking. It's not any worse parking than it was. It's just moving it to the outside of the entryway versus being in the middle. So that's no cost to the city other than Public Works time and effort, and that's a very quick exercise. After that, it's getting a contractor to install fencing, sod, or seeding and topsoil. All that probably could be done under the current bid laws to where you don't even have to go out for public bids and you can get quotes.
I talked to the people who were in charge of the Long Beach Dog Park project, or the lady who was, and she was so helpful and kind of went through their whole process, and they were able to get the Navy Seabees to come and volunteer, and you know, just labors. I don't know, there's probably some avenues that we could explore also to get some volunteer help. So that might be something to consider.
Is there any more questions? Any more concerns?
We'll make one comment real quick.
Okay, Councilman
I'm sorry.
Clark.
Both parks are going to require seating. So however long it would take for that to take over and be there, you got to add that time in there for it.
And I will
Good point.
say that this committee visited every dog park on the coast. We didn't just look at one. We visited every dog park. Pass Christian, hats off to Pass Christian if y'all are looking. Their fencing is gorgeous. You know, that's probably $150 a foot. I don't know, or $100. It's decorative fencing. It's not the $40 chain link per foot. Beautiful fencing. They did an outstanding job, and it's sitting right in the midst of the downtown area. You know, it's beautiful, it's easy access. Long Beach probably has one of the best, I think we all agreed, right? But that's way bigger than we can afford at this time. You know, it's not about them, it's about all of us. It's about the city, it's about the residents, it's about every resident having the ability to go take their dog. We don't want it to seem like it's for every resident. It's not just saying, you know, them. It's every resident collectively, whether it's a senior going to bring her puppy, which is her family, to the dog park and visiting, or whether a young family. You know, just throwing up a fence and saying, here's your dog park is not something I want to see. I don't think it's something the steering committee wants to see. If that was the case, we could just use the football field when the kids aren't out there. Let's just do that and not spend any money. You know what I'm saying? If that's how we're going to look at it, then are
I
y'all
don't-
okay with that?
I don't know
I
that
think
that's
that's
what
a little
anybody
facetious,
said.
yeah.
I don't think that's an accurate representation at all. And Long Beach spent less than $100,000 on their dog park. So we could have, I mean, no one's trying to, water anything down if we don't have to. I was just curious if we had to do incrementally budget-wise, and I don't know that we do. It would be nice not to, but I don't think anybody's trying to take anything away. But if you want to get into the other location, I think we need to talk about why we're even
Is there any more
exploring this.
questions to my right? Councilman Finley? Okay, I have deep concerns on the location because it is isolated, and I have visions of this being a youth area. Our youth sports have diminished. When I moved here, my kids played sports. We had sports in here for kids, and I know Councilman Clark and I is the two longest here. We don't have that anymore. We have 3,000 of the 9,529 residents are over 60. That used to be 60% over 60. You know, now it's young families here. We've got to get the amenities for young people to attract them and keep them here. And this dog park is one of the things they look at as well. So I'm not into just shoving it off somewhere so people don't see it, but thank you, Ben.
You're
So can we have Jared up here with Machado Batano?
I'm here to answer questions.
Okay, so let's get to the walking trail and the fishing trail. You're at a total cost now of,
With the dog park excluded, right around 200,000.
and we have grant funding for 225, so that part's covered.
Correct.
So the dog park total cost is,
68, which includes the splash pads, drainage, fencing, seating. We took the side out. And we have the entry feature as an alternate.
so we have the entry house as a bed alternate.
Correct.
And no parking is attributed in the dog park portion, but the dog park will use the parking.
That's correct. The parking is in the walking trail portion. And don't get me lying to you, it's like 4 or 5 parking spaces and 2 or 3 golf cart spaces with a handicap space.
Is this the August 2022 plan?
So there was some confusion. There was an August 22 plan, and then there was a subsequent plan that is actually November. So the November plan has everything in it. So it has the parking, the entry feature,
Splash pad?
splash pads, everything. I think the first plan did not have everything in it. I know it didn't have the entry building and some of the other amenities. We've changed this cost estimate, I think 9 times, trying to finesse between everyone's wishes
And
and
it's
wants.
down to very little right now.
Right, and so
It's
we
been-
never, just to be clear, the latest set of plans is the November set of plans. It has everything in it. We have not massaged it to this latest.
I guess what I'd like to see is, I'd like to see a side-by-side of the money and compare this list to make sure it is apples to apples, but that everything is being charged to the dog park that's being charged to the dog park
Sure,
on
and
this plan.
I haven't seen Ben's estimate, or we can get together and look at it and.
'Cause it's hard to believe there'd be that much of a discrepancy.
Yeah, you would think it would be, I mean, from what he said, you would think it would be similar to the same cost. So I'm not sure if there's more site work or dirt, or I don't know.
You said 200,000 for the fishing pier and walk. Oh, good.
There it is. So we have it in front of us now. It was 185,000 with contingency 303, and the dog park 67,781.
Now, we did, just so we're all together, we did take out some of the drainage for Public Works to do and also the Topsoil Public Works is gonna supply the material.
So the problem we have, the dog poop's been addressed. We can't do anything about the golfers seeing the dog park. That can never be remedied because they're gonna see
I'm
us.
sorry, how is the dog poop addressed?
He's
I
got
think we
the,
chose not to address it, is that right? Or how has that been addressed? I never heard. The
the fence. Remember you had sent the email back about the fence addressing the dog poop?
Yeah.
So explain that to me, because I never got that memo.
You talking about running off?
Mhm.
Yeah, into the lake.
Runoff.
Yeah, we were gonna berm around the edge, raise the grade around the edge of it to keep it on the site.
Okay.
Let the fence come all the way down, so it can't,
Okay, and then, so I think,
which is good.
I think everyone on the council knows, and the public should know that we got a letter from the Water and Sewer District, putting us on notice, official notice, that there's a sewer manhole
we've-
and relief station. So how are y'all planning to address that?
Sure.
Because
We met with the Water and Sewer District, myself and John and one of my engineers, and John mentioned this to me yesterday, so it's kind of news. We had it worked out with them. They located a line, we went and surveyed it, know exactly where it's at, and they were fine with our plan. So I don't know what's changed.
Is that a line? John, is that a line or a
It's a sewer
manhole?
line
No,
that comes from the
there's two
manhole.
things.
Yes, ma'am,
Councilman,
there's a-
Councilwoman, can we let him talk?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead.
There's a manhole on the site.
Right.
And then there's a sewer line that runs from that manhole across, we actually showed on drawings, across the property to the lift station that's on the other side of the street.
Uh-huh.
And so the pier actually comes across the line, but they were fine, and they may have changed their mind, I don't know. It's been 3-4 months, 6 months, I don't know, it's been a while since we met with them. Yeah.
They were fine, but now all of a sudden they're not.
Well, there was some concern, and they
Okay.
located a line, they wanted to locate it, we located it, and they wanted to make sure the pilings didn't hit the
Mm-hmm.
line. As long as we transversed over it, they were okay with it. Now,
I'm-
that may have changed,
I'm not worried about that. I think that can all be dealt with,
Sure.
sounds like pretty easily. I'm worried about the overflow from the sewer, because from what I'm hearing, there's toilet paper and sewage that bubbles
Yeah.
up several times a year, and that's gonna keep happening.
Yeah,
And even though the fence is cut out around it,
That's correct. The fence is-
usually the water doesn't know.
the fence
to
is kind
stop
of,
the
what our
fence.
proposal, what we have in the plans is to include a watertight lid to keep that from happening now. Is it gonna solve all the problems? There's a bigger issue than that manhole
Well,
with the sewer district.
And just legal, can I ask you a question? So what is, if we are officially put on notice, what is our liability if that continues to happen? And according to the letter, and actually, can I ask that the letter we received be made part of the minutes, please? So like the public will know what we're talking about if anybody wants to look at it. I'm really concerned about that. I don't want children out there stepping in that, or elderly
I don't-
people, or anybody.
And I don't know if that needs to be part of the minutes.
Oh, I think it
Because
does.
the water sewer district, that puts them in a situation currently
I think
that,
it's public record, isn't it?
It would be it would be subject to a public record request.
Well, I'm requesting that you make it part of the minutes.
But, in summary, there's two concerns that were raised in Mr. Cardin's letter. One is with respect to the easement, and I know, in the plans that came out, some of those things were identified initially. Obviously, any construction that was done on that site would have to take into account the easements, and an agreement would have to be worked out with Water and Sewer District. Now, if they've got some concerns about it, and if it alters the plan, or if it, that's just something that's got to be worked out. When we construct something, just the same issue we have with the town center. We've got to have the easements worked out. We've got to have access
Eric,
worked
even if
out. We've got to
there's
have all
an
that.
easement, if there's bubbling up of sewage,
Well, that's
volcano-like, several
that's
times a year, then
that's the second part that I'm going to get to. So one obviously is the
no,
easements.
we need to let people talk.
We've got to allow the, work out an agreement. They've got to allow us to do what we're doing within their easements. If they don't, we either have to alter the project or we don't have a project, but that's something that's got to be worked out. So as the plans are finalized, and what we typically do is we work with whoever's got the easements, or they work with us, and we get the engineers involved, and we work it out. So that's, when the plans are finalized, that's got to happen. So that's the first thing. The second thing with respect to the environmental concern, you know, that's, some of this is way over my head when it comes to the technical, why this overflows, the fact that it can or can't be fixed, you know, all of that. And that's what I would trust the engineers to work out. There is, you know, again, it's a concern. It was just raised recently, that aspect. So I would recommend that being looked at, and, you know, before we finalize and agree that this is the site, this is the plan, that we address that. And we get the folks that know how to address it and come up with an agreement, because we will have to have it. We're gonna have to work together with them, so. But it would have to be addressed.
And that needs to be, you know, because we're one meeting away with Councilman Finley's motion to having it ready to advertise to bid. We're one meeting away, working with the water sewer and resolving whatever they just came up with, you know, is critical to moving it forward. Councilman Cumberland, did you have a question?
I was just wanted to ask Derek if he would clarify on that. That would be something that needed to be addressed. How would, with the overflow, what do you mean by needing to address it?
Yeah, so, you know, again, the easements were worked out by, you know, we get the engineers involved and work out the easement issue. The overflow issue, I mean, we've got to look at it. We've got to look at, you know, because according to the letter I received, it's something that happens, it's going to continue to happen, it's not fixable. Maybe it is. I'm not an engineer. I'm certain, you know, I certainly don't know. So that would be something, if I were y'all in making that decision, I would want to know what can be done, what's it going to look like, what are the potential issues if this continues to overflow and we've got a dog park right there.
Does it become our responsibility, though? I guess is what I really was asking.
I mean, it would be our dog park, and it's, you know, we're inviting the public there, and so, yeah, I mean, certainly it'd be something that we would want to make sure we've addressed.
We have to address it anyhow, because that is public city property today. Residents are out there every day fishing, and you all have the right to be on that property. That's public city property. So we have to address this. We have to figure out, you know, and sewer, this is gravity sewer, so this is very easy to look at. There can be other locations they can tap in and do pop-off areas if it needs to be where the sewer needs to pop off. Having a pop-off at the Twin Lakes that goes into Rotten Bayou, into the Bay of St. Louis, is not something that we want to put in the minutes or have publicly discussed. We need to work with them and see what we need to do to fix this.
I was told that it can't be moved, it can't be fixed, it is what it is. Is that, I mean, I think we need to find out, but if that's true and we're on notice, I think what you meant was, what is our personal, like, liability? Don't we have, if we are put on notice that there's going to be this ongoing problem that is going to possibly have health concerns, I mean, and you talk about the elderly and the youth, I mean, we're encouraging people to go out there where there could be, you know, this mess on the ground, and we know that going in, and we vote for it. And the first time it happens, people are going to go, well, what was the council thinking? How did they vote for that? So, Derek, don't we have some personal liability if we are put on notice and we choose to do it anyway?
I mean, again, it's something that's got to be addressed. It's something, if it can be addressed. I don't know if it can be, I'm not an engineer. Legally, what I would say is I'd get the engineers to work on it.
And we need to, because it's the same thing if we put the dog park out with all these residents concerned about it being remotely located and somebody's attacked or mugged or a woman's beat up. Well, you knew it was
Where
remote.
would you get remotely and attacked or mugged? Has there ever
Is
been
it-
an incident at all down Noma Drive of anybody being attacked or mugged?
There's
You're like
always the
future-
first.
Well, sure, and there's always the first. It could
always the
happen
first.
anywhere.
Well, it's kind of like
but
the
you're
sewer.
making it as if it's a done thing.
It's like the sewer, saying that the sewer, we can't use that property because
I'm not
of sewer.
saying that. That's the chief executive for the sewer department saying that.
Did you speak with him?
That's coming from
You spoke
somebody
with
who
him?
has
I spoke
some
with him.
knowledge, but
Okay.
there's no knowledge.
Okay,
of it being-
Councilman, okay, we're all
being
over, we're
an
all over
area
the place.
of crime.
Councilman Marr, we're all over the place. Now, let's keep it very calm, but I'm comparing apples to apples. When you made that statement, I was just showing you how that sounded. It wasn't meant to be real. It was meant to say,
Well, I mean, you're putting down parts of the city as if it's something that's not there.
we're not, we're just saying it's remote. But if a resident was out there by herself and she had a health issue, I mean, there's what ifs all day long. We want to build the park, we need to find the location, but every meeting, there's a concern, every single meeting. So these residents, like the rest of the residents of the city, what do we need to do to get the park built? Because we're tired of every meeting a new concern
We're
coming up.
tired of it too.
I will be very direct. I won't, mine's not an opinion, but I will say, I will only vote for this one way. When Machado and the city engineer agree on
Exactly.
what, and that, based on the new information from the water and sewer, they all come to an agreement that, Twin Lakes is doable or not. And when that comes back, wherever we decide to put it, if Orion Planning, which was 100%, that's not a game changer, but then all those people, whenever all those people are in agreement, they report to the city manager, and the city manager tells me, he said, not me personally, tells us, it's gonna cost $100,000, and we have $100,000. Then and only then will I vote yes for it, or no.
And
But
it- Mm-hmm.
until all that, until all the engineers and the city, until everybody's working together, I don't wanna hear any more about it.
And I second that because I'm totally done. We need to get the sewer worked out and get this thing built. So can you all just go back to the drawing boards, meet with the water sewer, see what we need to do?
And can you make sure and invite the city manager next time?
Sure.
He didn't go to the water sewer? I thought he went.
I think
No.
he's talking about the meeting that happened last week, right? On the 12th?
Yeah.
What meeting?
You were in it.
Oh, and that was a response to Councilman Clark meeting with whoever about the Tideland funds, and he said, we have 75,000. I would like to meet to see what we can do. So that was set up as a response to whoever met on the Tidelands, which I didn't know about that either.
One more question. Jeannie, is there some federal aspect to the job just discovered this week? Can you,
Yes, there
can you
is.
address that, please?
The National Heritage is, federal funds, and I did confirm that, we got the CFPA number, so we do have to follow federal procurement laws in this whole process.
Which,
This is another
which,
ca-
which we have to do for Talon's.
Anyhow, yeah, that's,
That was a little different, but
yes, we do. We have to follow federal guidelines for Tideland funds. Yes, we do.
But the heritage funds are for the dog
Yes.
park specifically?
no, they're not, they cannot.
Okay,
spend
yeah,
on it.
gotcha,
That's
gotcha.
All right, so the work to do, let's conclude it. Let's get with the water sewer and see what we can do. And let's help them any way we can, because this has got to be fixed no matter what, because this is city property. This is open to the public today. People are out there fishing. It needs to be addressed. And hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have a better understanding.
I still have a question for John. So, John, hypothetically, if we decided that we did want to move the dog park to Noma, did you have anything else in mind for the fishing pier portion, moving it from Twin Lakes so that it is not in the middle of all this chaos?
Well, yeah, I discussed this with a resident a few months ago. If we didn't put the Tidelands money into the dog park and move that to Noma, that money could be moved to Lily Pond and incorporate it with the Tidelands grant we just applied for to help that whole project to do the reforestation of, and as well as the native plants there.
And that-
Please get with the residents at the Lily Pond, because after we had approved that, I had 3 of them that live on the Lily Pond say, Mayor, we do not want in our backyard, because we cleared all the trees. They don't want a park in their yard. So we need to reach out to the residents that live around the Lily Pond, because I didn't realize they didn't want it till after we voted on it. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's move on the agenda. Is there any public comments? No. Could I get a motion to approve the July 5th, 2023 regular meeting minutes?
Move.
Motion to, can I get a second? Second by Councilman Clark. All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve the July 5th, 2023 recessed meeting minutes.
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Was that Councilman
Second.
Marr? Councilman Marr. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2023-281. Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-029, thereby authorizing an application to the Mississippi Development Authority for the FY24 Gulf Coast Restoration Grant Fund in the amount of $2,500, 80% of $2 million GCRF share, and 20% or $500,000 of local match funding for the Commercial District Transformation Project, more specifically Jex Road and Park 10 Drive and Jex Road to the town center for other related purposes. Motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley, second. Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion? City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi.
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2023-282, motion to adopt Resolution 2023-030, thereby authorizing the city manager to make application to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources for the FY23 GOMESA funding in the amount of $2 million for the Phase 1 bank stabilization project and for related purposes. Motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley, second. Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion? City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi.
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. We have the consent agenda. I've just got one question. I sent an email requesting information on the budget, and I have not yet received it. So is this motion just for the format of the budget, the way it will look? It's not the budget.
Yes, this is the proposed budget.
I had like 5 questions from the last meeting I didn't get answered.
I don't have my budget folder in front of me.
You had sent an email saying I had to wait till you sent it to the council, and then we didn't get it out to the council.
That may have been what happened then, unfortunately. I think one of your questions, you were asking why we decreased appropriations in 1140, and that was due to your salary, where you transferred your salary over into the administration side for the appropriations. That's all that. That's where that came from.
It was something with 240,000. I'll email you the
Yeah.
questions I had, because I did
Please,
not get a
yes,
response,
unfortunately,
and so I was,
I can't remember the rest of them.
Is that on the
Thought I'd put 'em
action
together and send 'em
agenda?
to you guys.
I mean, the consent agenda, or that's on the?
it
act-
is.
Where at? That's on the action agenda.
Action, okay. All right, because I was just concerned about those questions. All right, I'll email them. Could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 5 through 16?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
2023-275, motion to accept the FY24 budget, set the public hearing for August 15th, 2023 at 6 p.m. and approve the advertisement for public notice of the same.
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion? I had a few things, but I will email them to you because there were questions I didn't get answered.
All right, I appreciate that. I'll get them back to you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve payroll payable claims, PR claim 10164 in the amount of $1,523.58. PR claim 01376 in the amount of $28,867.27. PR claim 010166 in the amount of $30,210.06, and DKT 230867 through DKT 230867 in the amount of $56,521.25. Motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Finley. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve docket of claims DKT 230877, DKT 230916 in the amount of $884,460.35.
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Could I get a motion to approve department reports, building, court, and police?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor?
Aye.
I had one quick question before we adjourn. Makiki, I've gotten several requests about Makiki, and we're going on 7 months. So, and I realized we had an update, but I want to make it clear because I did not catch what you said. So you said, what did you say? Do you want to address it?
Well, what I said is we finally, or we got the plans back from the engineer, which we have given over to the bonding company. Their responses that we had yesterday was they're looking at 2 possibilities. Either we've just bid this out ourselves and go through that entire process, or they do what they called
A tender agreement.
tender agreement.
Okay.
And that's the other option. And they will procure the contractor and approve them and go through the entire process, and then they will hire that company to come in and finish the job.
If they do tender agreement, did they say a time frame? Because that could be.
Well, no, they understand. I'm sorry.
No, this is what we want to hear.
Yeah. No, we were very clear yesterday. We spent over an hour on the telephone with the
Okay.
in-house engineer and the attorney for the bonding company, and they are very clear that they understand we want this project to get back on track immediately. Their goal is to help us, and frankly, they believe that a tender agreement may get us on the road quicker than having to bid it out ourselves. We're not sure. But they did feel reasonably confident. I think the word they actually used was they believed it was very doable, that we would have an option to present to you at the next council meeting of which way we are going to proceed, or would recommend that we proceed, and that the bonding company agrees with. In addition, they also today requested a list of our preferred contractors, and we're going to send that to them. It came to me later in the day. We're going to send that over tomorrow morning, and they're going to go ahead and start that vetting process.
The engineer's probable cost must have came in over 75. Where are we with it? I see him shaking his head. Ben, can you
Yes,
give
it
us a
did.
number?
It did. I have it. I believe, yes, I have it. Yeah, I'm not pulling it out, but Andrew reminded me about 110 with everything.
110.
Mhm.
That's so close, yet so far.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I've got residents, and I know they're watching it live stream. They are ready to get their road open, and it's gone on way too long. So next meeting will be great to have a conclusion on where we're headed.
Great.
Since you brought up McKee, can I ask one question? Is there any way to make even a 1-lane passable through there for them at all? Nothing at all?
I would
Not right
defer
now.
to the engineers, but I would say no.
There's a box sticking up 4 feet in the air.
Mhm.
I think it would just be opening ourselves up to some liability.
Just trying to get some relief, that's all.
All right, is there any other action before the council?
Just one about Open Jam Night, Thursday from 6 to 8, right out by the gazebo at City Hall here. Come and enjoy the music. West Sanderford is awesome. And we invite any musicians or singers to come and show us your talent. Wes will be back up for you. He'll give you use of his equipment. And it's a fun time from 6 to 8. Bring your lawn chair or your favorite drinks and come and watch.
All right, if there's no further action of the council, could I get a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moore. All in favor?